بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, inshallah we will be reflecting over a verse from Surah Al-An'am, Ayah 136. So firstly I will translate the verse and give you its context. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجعلوا لله مما ذرأ من الحرث والأنعام نصيبا فقالوا هذا لله بزعمهم وهذا لشركائنا فما كان لشركائهم فلا يصل إلى الله وما كان لله فهو يصل إلى شركائهم ساء ما يحكمون. And they have assigned a portion for Allah from what He has created from the plantations and the cattle. And they said, this is for Allah, so they claimed, and this is for our associate gods. Then what was for their associate gods never reaches Allah, and what was for Allah does reach their associate gods. Evil is what they judge. So firstly, Allah Ta'ala is the one who is the sole controller of the entire earth and everything in it. Allah is the one who maintains it, then He gives from His qudrah, from His treasures to His creation. So Allah Ta'ala makes the sun shine, makes the wind blow. Allah Ta'ala sends the rain down, and after that initial seed which is planted, it is Allah Ta'ala who brings the entire system into action for that seed to grow. Thereafter that seed, it sprouts and it has a feeble little stem which Allah Ta'ala causes it to penetrate through the rock solid surface and it comes out. Even then, this little bud is not safe. Allah divinely protects it from the many things that can destroy it, and Allah Ta'ala nourishes it with its sunlight, with the wind, with water, and Allah Ta'ala allows it to grow to the extent that when a whole field of harvest is ready, Allah Ta'ala allows mankind, gives mankind the power, the ability, the intellect to take benefit from all of these crops and these plantations. So when Allah Ta'ala is the one who done everything A to Z, and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala then gave all of it to you into your control, what do you do with this? So Allah Ta'ala says, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ, they assigned a portion from all of these things which Allah Ta'ala provided for mankind. Mankind in return assigned a portion from it for Allah. Didn't assign the entire thing or a great amount of it, but a small portion they assigned for Allah. And then they said, this is for Allah. And as they claimed, this much amount from what Allah has given them, they took a portion aside and claimed that this is for the associates of Allah. I.e., they ascribe partners to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala despite Allah being alone in providing this entire system and giving them what they have now. They now are saying that this portion is for Allah, this portion is for Allah's helpers, for Allah's associates. Then what was for their associates never reaches Allah. Meaning once they have assigned portions, one portion for Allah, one portion for their associates, and another portion for themselves. Now, if there was ever an incident occurred whereby their portions that they had assigned and allocated for each, themselves, Allah, and the associates of God, if it ever happened that it got mixed up, a portion of Allah, what they had assigned for Allah, some portion of it got mixed up and went to the associates of God, or got mixed up into their own portion, then they will never retrieve those portions and give back Allah Ta'ala His full portion which they had initially assigned. But on the other hand, if their own portion of the portion which they had assigned for their the associates of their gods, if the portion from these two were to get mixed up and go into the portion which they had allocated for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, i.e. increased that portion, then they would be very meticulous in taking that portion back and taking it for themselves, or taking it and giving it back to their associates. So this is what Allah Ta'ala talks about and says, then what was for their associate gods never reaches Allah, and what was for Allah does reach their associate gods. Then Allah Ta'ala concludes, سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ, evil is what they judge. Now it's quite strange, and we can see how unfair these mushrikeen are. The one is that they always acknowledged that Allah is the one who does everything. So whenever the mushrikeen were asked, who is it the one who created the heavens and the earth? سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ. Who does the earth belong to? The earth belong to Lillah. Who is it that will save you when you are in the midst of the ocean? Who is it that can save you? They'll say Allah. So for each question that you ask them in regards to who controls the entire system of the world, and who is it that really sustains you and provides for you, they will always declare Allah. So how strange is it now that despite that declaration and the belief that they claim, yet when it comes to allocating portions, they do allocate, but then they are unfair in the fact that they don't give Allah Ta'ala His true share, or sometimes when they used to have less of a harvest or less profit, if you want to call it, then they say, you know what, Allah is ghani, He is independent, so we'll take our full share and we'll give the associates their full share, but we'll reduce it from the portion of Allah. Allah is independent. So this way, whenever they felt like it, they will always increase their own portion or take their portion in full share, give their associate gods their full portion. But when it came to the portion of Allah, they wouldn't bother giving the full share, but they'll always reduce, if anyone's share, only the share of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we can see how unfair that is. Having said that Allah Ta'ala is the one who does everything, and He was the one who gave everything in the first place, to mistreat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that way, Allah Ta'ala says, very bad is the way they judge. It does seem very, very unfair. But Mufassirun have written, and likewise the entire Quran, wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to the mushrikeen and the non-Muslims, the Muslims are also included in that address. Those who disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are also included in that address. And the lessons to be learned and the ibrah is for the Muslims. So here the Mufassirun have written, this was the mushrikeen in the way they mistreated the share of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when it comes to the Muslims also do the very same thing. And this is where we need to reflect, how are we emulating the mushrikeen in the way they apportion things for Allah and for themselves, and how they dealt with situations. So let's look at what Allah Ta'ala has given us. He's given us health. He's given us time. He's given us our shelter. He's given us our food. He's given every luxury that we have. Undoubtedly, it's from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Now, when Allah Ta'ala has given us all of these things, let us now analyze how much of all of these things, or even if it's our time, from the 24 hours, from all of the money that we have we, number one, allocated a share for Allah Ta'ala in our time, in our 24 hours? Have we allocated a share for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in our wealth? Have we allocated a time for Allah Ta'ala in our energy and in our strength? Because all of these has come from Allah Ta'ala Himself. Now, once we have, and let us just say we have allocated a portion of our time for Allah Ta'ala, maybe 2 hours a day, maybe it's the time that we have allocated for our salah, the 5 times salah, maybe it's a bit more than that, maybe 2 hours of studying or reading about the religion of Islam, the deen, or just reciting the Quran, maybe a few minutes, or half an hour, or 1 hour in the morning, or 1 hour before going to bed. Just say we have allocated our shares, a share of our time for Allah Ta'ala. Let us be really honest when it comes to ourselves, when it comes to our children. If it's maybe exams, or maybe it's a family get-together, or maybe it's an outdoor event that we want to go to. Maybe it's a football match. Maybe it's something that's coming on TV. Maybe it's shopping. Maybe it's something got to do with our desires, our wants, and something which we want to be entertained or amused by. Then, out of our 24 hours, does our dunyawi, worldly study time get affected? Does our shopping time get affected? Does our family time get affected? Or is it our deeni time and Allah's portion and share of our time that takes the hit? Which one is it? And for a lot of people, we will have to be honest and say it is the time that we have allocated for Allah Ta'ala that takes the hit. And we find that many a times when it comes to even our children. We are the ones who say, okay, today maybe we won't send you to madrasa or the masjid because you have an exam tomorrow. Or maybe because you have cousins coming over, you have a family get together, and so forth. So everything else stays intact. Our school hours stay intact. Our homework hours stay intact. But what takes the hit is that allocated portion which we dedicated initially for Allah Ta'ala. And this is what Allah Ta'ala says, سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Very bad is the way you judge, the way you treat Allah Ta'ala. Likewise for ourselves. We can say, we may have or have not allocated time and a share for Allah Ta'ala. But say we have. Then it comes that we are running late on a few things, or maybe someone came over, or maybe it's even our job and our occupation. What takes the hit? Is it the time that we had allocated for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of our salah? Say, okay, I'm going to have to miss dhahr, and I'll probably make it up later. That is exactly what Allah Ta'ala is saying. He gave you that strength, He gave you that job, He gave you that money, He gave you that intellect to be able to work in that profession. Allah Ta'ala gave you all of that. Despite that, when it came to what the time that you were supposed to allocate for Allah Ta'ala, you said, we'll do that later. Let me continue with this now, otherwise I won't get my work done. And this is what exactly Allah Ta'ala is saying, سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Likewise, when it comes to cooking at home, cleaning at home, or anything else got to do with our domestic work in our homes, the same rule applies. If you are going to override the times given to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, allocated by Allah Ta'ala, then Allah Ta'ala is saying, you fall in the same category as the mushrikeen and as the way they used to deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Very bad and evil is the way you deal with Allah, the way you judge. So coming up to Ramadan, it's very important that we allocate time for Allah Ta'ala. And we should be allocating more of our time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this will only be possible if we are serious and we make a timetable for ourselves. Making a timetable will enable you to say that this is our necessities that we need to get done. This is the hour for shopping if there's any need. This is the hour for our family time, maybe playtime, taking care of the children time. But this time is for my salah. This time is for my Quran. This time is for my something, maybe listening to tafsir or attending a tafsir online course or something like that. Only if we make some sort of plan, then inshallah we'll be on the road to succeeding in what we want to achieve from this Ramadan. Otherwise, if there's no plan, then by default you plan to fail. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Ameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.